Let's get more on this now from Madhu Unnikrishnan in San Francisco. He's the editor of the leading industry publication Skift Airline Weekly. Welcome back to Money Talks, Madhu. As we saw there, some European airlines had a bit of a rough ride this earnings season. Tell us a bit more about what hit their profits.
Good morning, and thanks for having me. Lufthansa and Air France-KLM did report slightly losses this quarter, and that was mainly affected by short-haul intra-European demand. The units to focus on those short-haul flights for Lufthansa, Austrian, and its Eurowings unit really saw their pricing fall because there's a lot of competition in the market, and the market is very fragmented. Conversely, Swiss and Lufthansa long haul, transoceanic and transcontinental flights did much better. And the same story was repeated at Air France-KLM. The intra-European market, there's intense competition with the low-cost carriers, the Ryanairs, the Wizz Airs, the Norwegian. And so the airlines were not able to reap the rewards that they would have otherwise, and so it was a tough quarter this year.
Interesting.
Also, the price of oil can't be discounted. Although year on year, when you look at last quarter versus this quarter, Brent is roughly flat. We have to remember that oil and fuel is priced in dollars, and with the strong dollar, and European carriers are paying for their oil in dollars, but mainly collecting their revenue in euros. So that leads to sort of a disadvantage and makes the cost of fuel more expensive for European carriers.
Right.
By contrast, the fuel bill at most U.S. carriers did not rise very much. It was virtually flat. I think I saw 2%.
Let's talk about U.S. carriers closer to where you are, because they seem to have had a better earnings season so far. Their results largely met or even beat expectations. Why was that? People were not expecting the U.S. carriers to have a good quarter. And, collectively, the operating margin for the U.S. carriers that have reported is about 7%. So, but there are a number of things going against them. There's the federal government shutdown earlier this year that crimped demand. There was terrible weather in Seattle, Chicago, thousands and thousands of canceled flights, and then the MAX issues. So with all of these things, analysts were expecting a worse quarter than they had, but they did pretty well. Part of that is that fuel costs were flat, demand remained high, and they're very confident that they'll have a very strong summer season, which is where they make most of their money. So it was a good quarter, all things considered. It wasn't as good as it was last year, but fuel costs have risen a bit, and there were these other external factors that made it less good than it could have been. But it was still a great quarter. Yes, and in delivering their results, many of the airlines cited the 737 MAX crisis, the global grounding of that fleet affecting their future earnings. How much of an impact will that have, do you think?
It's tough to say. I mean, in the U.S., the main carriers that are affected are Southwest and American, and so it's tough to say what it'll be. They're saying that one of the effects that American noticed is they're having to rebook and business travelers that made reservations on flights that plan to be operated by MAXs. So they're having to give away some revenue, as it were. So it's tough to say now, but there definitely will be an effect in the second quarter as the peak season when the airlines make most of their money. So there will be some effect in the summer.
Okay, we'll see how they go in the next quarter. Madhu Unnikrishnan, thank you so much again for your time.